Greetings, peace and blessings. We are the Mohammeds, the residential tourists from 85 to Africa. We are living in the after. Welcome. We appreciate you and giving us a bit of your time. As always, we appreciate your viewership. Today we want to kind of focus on something a little specific, because we know Africa is popping. It's popping. Everybody and their grandmama is looking at, talking about Africa, right? And without us saying, people are relocating here, people are visiting, it's become more of the higher up on the list of places to travel to on vacation or whatever, right? Whereas before it was like, Africa, man, please. But now, please, everybody's looking and talking about the continent. But here's the thing, though. There's an area of Africa that seems to be has a more keen, how can I say? Focal point for reasons. And that's what we want to kind of talk about with you in these few moments.
Yeah, so you guys know we are here in East Africa. We are here in the beautiful country of Rwanda, or Rwanda as the Americans say. And we are privy to news that the Western media doesn't show you guys.
Right.
So even this morning, the last couple of days, I'm searching on the CNN news, I'm searching on Fox 5 News, I'm just searching on news channels to see if they are covering any of this really big, major information, and they're not. And we're trying to figure out why. We let you guys know a few months ago about the dollar dropping and a de-dollarization in the continent of Africa. And most of you guys responded, we never heard anything about this. And so again, we're like, well, why? Because This is major. Even if we're home in the States, this is a major topic.
Sure.
So why now are they focusing so much energy? And when we say the Western world, we're not just saying America. We're saying Europe, most European countries, they are very heavily invested in East Africa. And we wanted to try to just do some thinking points on why.
Right.
Why. So the one, and this isn't necessarily seemingly a good thing, but we're trying to understand, why are they so focused on Uganda?
And real quick, East Africa is, East, but there's an East African community. But within that East African community, meaning these are individuals who have countries that have come together to work together. I'll put it plainly as that. However, there are specific countries that have a more keen focal point, as my wife was saying. And so we're going to lead into it with Uganda.
Yeah. So this week we decided to just research some of the, we were trying to just explore a lot of different reasons that it could possibly be. Now, Uganda is supposed to be one of the 15th poorest countries in the world. It ranks number 15 on a lot of the research that I found as one of the poorest countries in the world. So, of course, the big uncle, big stepdaddy, America pours millions and millions of dollars in aid into Uganda. It's close to, I think, $1 billion actually for over a couple-year span. So they pour tons of money into aid, into NGOs, into development, agricultural development, into America. But I'm noticing that it's not a big trade with Uganda and America. They don't import or export a lot of goods into the U.S. There's not even a gold trading company with the U.S. They're not doing a lot of agricultural trading. America really just puts aid into Uganda. And so because they do that, I'm thinking, now this is just us having conversation, we're trying to understand that they're thinking that they should have control over the how Uganda runs its country. And that's not the case. Uganda has to constantly remind them that this is their country, this is what they want to do, and this is how they're going to run it, whether you put your dollars in Uganda or not. This is our country.
They're a sovereign nation.
They're a sovereign nation, but they're trying to say because you're a diplomatic country that you, everything that you...
Democratic.
A democratic.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Diplomatic. It's
Okay.
cool. It's cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm still off of my public school education.
That's what I'm here for.
My very limited means of understanding. But so they're feeling like they can influence them, that they should follow their lead and control how they run their country. And the biggest issue that we're seeing right now is this
LGBTQ.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Issue that America or the Western world, Kamala Harris and so forth, wants them to change their policy, or they call it a human rights policy, against same-sex marriages. Actually, it's beyond that. Homosexuality is not allowed.
Disclaimer now. We're not attacking LGBTQ. We're not positioning ourselves for or against or anything. We're just presenting the information as it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's simply what we're doing, trying to understand why it is that they are putting such emphasis on this particular country.
Mm-hmm.
And my dear beloved is getting ready to go into that right now.
Right, so Uganda's policy pretty much is, at one point, because I think they have lessened it now because of the pressure, but it was the death penalty. But when you look at who America does business with, most countries do not have, they either have the death penalty or they have life. But they're not being pushed. They're not pressing them. Afghanistan, Iran, Pakistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, period. All of them have death penalties. Some of them have death penalties where you get death by stone.
Stoned to death.
That means you're being tortured to death.
That's like the time of Moses.
It's like,
like, listen.
The most inhumane way to die, they're doing it. And it's their country, it's their right. You learn the laws of the land and you live by it if you're going to be in their country.
Simple as that.
But UAE, think about Dubai. Americans love Dubai. Americans are over there. That's the rich country. We don't try to press them for anything. America don't press them for nothing. They don't tell them in order for this to happen. For one, they don't need the West. They don't need you. Either you come over and oblige by our laws, or don't come over. But even in Africa, where now Uganda said, okay, fine, we won't do the death penalty, we'll do life. Life in an African prison, that's death. That's death. And when you have a country that does not support homosexuality completely, what do you think is going to happen when they go to prison for life? Like, you're looking at Somalia, death by stoning. Sudan, Tanzania, Gambia, Zambia. These are life sentences for homosexuality. We're not going into the specifics whether you're going to leave same-sex marriages. No, homosexuality, period. You get life in prison. So what's different for them that the U.S. is pressing on Uganda?
Right. It's something. It's something to think about. You know,
it is.
It's something to really think about. And as my beloved was saying, is that, you know, because there's not really any major trade that we come across between that country and America or any other European nations. It makes you wonder, again, why is it seemingly the major focal point is in that particular area, in that country? And we don't know.
We don't know. They've already started stopping privileges for Ugandan officials that might be in the States. They're revoking visas. They're threatening to stop aid into the country, pull up all their funding out of the country. So it's mind-boggling. Like, why Uganda? Why are you not pressing any of these other countries that you actually have a trade and commerce relationship with? And you're not pressing them for nothing. And they do not. They also have their own homosexuality laws. You're not pressing. Wow, you're not pressing them.
Interesting.
But you're pressing Uganda. So as one of the countries that we are wondering why y'all have so much interest in. Why?
Right. So why is this important to present, to share? Because, again, just like with all else, as you seek or look to travel abroad, specifically here to Africa, even more specifically East Africa, and you're looking at somewhere such as Uganda, then this is something that you would need to know. If in fact, it's an area that may touch you, I'll put it that way. But even if it doesn't, it's still something to be aware of. And that's it.
Well, so where we are here in Rwanda, we are learning that Rwanda is not just a focal point for the West. We're seeing a lot of focal point from, not necessarily the West as America, but there's a lot of interest with Europe, a lot of interest with the Middle East, Eastern countries, Asian countries, but also we're seeing a lot of, Turkey's in the Middle East. So we're seeing a lot of Middle Eastern interest here. Rwanda doesn't have a lot of American trade and commerce. You can't find a lot of, I didn't even know we had anything to import from the U.S. I thought everything came from China. So, but you don't see too much of American influence as far as products are concerned here. So, but the world is looking at Rwanda. Rwanda
Absolutely.
has some major things going on.
Right.
Of course, we talked about the international airport, which has been started, and they're looking to have it completed before 2026. But the significance of that international airport really puts Rwanda on a map for being a hub for Africa.
Right.
And the airport alone, so this is the thing, we've had people come in just recently. My brother's come in, another one of our friends came in, and they've been sent to South Africa to exchange, to have layovers over there, the weird stuff. They're sent all the way to London to have layovers over there. And as we were researching, the reason behind it is because we don't have a hub in Africa that can pretty much be that mediation where they can just, if we wanted to come from here to Ghana,
right,
a lot of times you have to go to Uganda or you have to go to Kenya and do a layover over there, or a lot of them is Ethiopia. You have to go to Ethiopia. I think when my brother came from Nigeria, he had to go to Ethiopia, did a layover there, and then it came over here. Where now, once they have this hub, it frees Africa up from having to have any international flights to be the layovers.
Right.
Yeah. So like KLM, which is Belgium. Come over here, they fly over here, you have to pay their taxes when you go over there, there's airport fees and so forth, all added into the expense. Well, now Africa will have its own hub where you can fly anywhere you want, and the layover might be here in Rwanda, but you're on the continent. And now Qatar is the majority owner of the international airport. Qatar is very wise with that. They have partnered up with Rwanda Air. We're learning that there's going to be direct flights now once the merger starts, where Rwanda Air will go directly to New York. There's you have to go to London and then all this other stuff. It'll be a direct flight, so it cuts hours off your flight, and of course it should cut a lot of the pricing off as well.
We hope
We're
so.
hoping. We're hoping.
I don't know.
So I think
remains to be seen.
It does. And I think they're going to own 59% of the airport and 49% of the shares. And I believe Rwanda will own the rest of it.
I think it's 60%, 49%.
It's something like
something
that.
like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I wrote it down, but I can't find my little paper. So it's something like that.
Something close to that, very close.
But that means thousands of jobs for the locals here in Rwanda. Thousands of jobs. Some said 2 to 2,500 jobs just for the airport alone. So it's going to boost the economy up here in Rwanda. Of course, they're going to start building hotels and shops and all kinds of stuff around that area. So that's going to help with the tourism. And on top of that, they have the biggest convention center that's being built here. It was held 25,000 people before. It's going to hold 45,000 now. And it's targeted again for the hub of Africa. They already have signed a contract as of this week for the ball, which is BAL. I don't know if it's called ball.
I think it's even, I don't know if it's the same thing. I think it's FIBA. I don't know if Federal International Basketball, something like that.
Yeah, well, ball is Basketball Africa League.
Yeah.
Which is the same as, I would say, the NBA. Is that the basketball league? Yeah, NBA.
I guess it's comparable.
Yeah,
you know, right.
And they've been, I think they just signed a 5-year contract. They also have a gymnasium that's going to be built there inside of the stadium. So they're going to be holding all the football, which for us we call it soccer, but all the football games there, the basketball games, gymnastic league.
Paralympics is what it's.
Yeah.
Paralympics.
Yeah. And they also have restaurants and bars that are going to be put in there that will be open all year round, even when they don't have events. So they're going to have a way where you can come and just enjoy yourself in their restaurants, in their bars, and shops and so forth, even if there's no events going on in the stadium. So again, and that's targeting to improve the economic spending power here in Rwanda. The tourism sector is going to grow, continuously grow when you have these two major things. We have the airport now, and we're going to have that stadium. There's a lot of other...
First, there's the BK Arena.
Yeah.
So on the back side of that particular...
Or the concerts, that's going to come in. So the tourism sector, which is the a major force for Rwanda. They rely a lot on that tourism that comes in. So enhancing these features and getting people interested in coming into Rwanda, I can see why they're invested into Rwanda, into the country. So
my thought goes to, okay, you know, you have all of these different countries on the continent naturally, right? Rwanda is a very small country, right? So very small.
Sometimes you can't even see it on the map when you're looking at the map.
It's very true. So in terms of, say, the international airport as being the hub, right? You would want to think, or you would think, or at least me, thinking, well, why would they choose this small country for such, right? And this is why, and this is from my vantage point, why, I'll put it this way. This shows the positive results of a country having a solid infrastructure, in addition to a country that is hell-bent on making sure that there is close to zero to none in corruption, right? And this is from my vantage point, these things open the door for such great possibilities. Just getting word from in South Africa of how they in some trouble.
Yeah.
They in some trouble because
of bad leadership.
The misappropriation of funds. I'll just put it like that, right? But you have a country, a small country, but has a solid, well-built infrastructure with a focus on making sure things are on the up and up as much as possible. And these are the possibilities. Yeah. That's the beauty, from my vantage point, of this of this country.
Yeah. Eyes being on Rwanda, we understand.
We understand.
Right now, we are really, for us, our eyes is focused right now on Kenya. Kenya is blowing my mind. The more I research about what's going on in Kenya, it almost don't even seem real. It doesn't.
We like, yo, how we miss?
How did we not see that?
How did we miss?
Man, this is amazing. So Kenya, within the last 3-4 days, just signed an agreement with Europe or the EU.
Yeah, EU.
Which is
European EU. Go ahead.
which is duty free.
Is it Europe? I'm sorry.
It's EU.
So is it
The European nation, period.
just Europe itself?
Yeah.
Not the Union, just the whole,
They-
just Europe.
Y'all look it up.
All right,
Just look it
help
up.
us out, people.
They signed a trade agreement, duty free, with Europe, meaning that Europe will now start buying. Believe it or not, Kenya is one of the main distributors in the world of flowers.
That really blows my mind.
Because remember
Of
our
all
previous
things.
video, we were saying we weren't seeing a lot of agriculture, even though we were only in Mombasa.
Right.
We weren't seeing a lot of greenery. Kenya's like, yeah, but y'all get y'all flowers from us.
That's very interesting. It's a very interesting
They are
thing.
one of the biggest importers of flowers. They have Kenyan coffee is very strong,
Sure it is.
very rich. Now Rwanda has its own style, its own kind of coffee here, especially with the volcanoes. It has a very dark flavoring on some of them, or coffee drinkers would say it has a chocolate, whatever. I don't know. I'm not a. I drink coffee, but I'm not a coffee lover.
She drinks coffee with sugar.
Yes, I drink cream with coffee. Okay, but the Kenyan coffee, it makes you go. Whew. Kenyan coffee is strong. It's almost like that Starbucks kind of coffee.
That's where they get it from.
I thought they got it from here. They
Well,
get it from 1,000 Hills. So
It's both. That's
Yeah.
1,000 Hills, but then I think Kenya is
it's a part of the 1,000 Hill coffee journey. So yeah, Kenyan coffee is very strong. Now they also have tea that they import in and out. Where we do know that Rwanda is well known for having the best tea. For some people, they say in the world. So, but Kenya is now going to be importing their goods and services into which is the biggest market that they've ever had. And it's going to increase, again, the spending power and the financial stability of the country. Which was unique for me is that the trade agreement means Europe can now import, and Kenya has agreed to lower the taxes for them, lower their tariffs for them for the next 25 years. So Kenya can trade in the EU tariff-free, and Europe can import here with a reduction of taxes. Okay, Kenya.
bossing it up.
That was a boss move right there. That's a boss move right there. And that shows that the EU want what Kenya has to offer. They want it. Also, we've been researching this. Kenya is a major tech hub. Not just Africa. It is the major tech hub in Africa, period. I haven't seen or heard of any country in Africa that has been able to do what Kenya has done with the tech industry.
Right.
But they are actually ranked as the fourth technical country in the world. And you're like, what does that mean? It's mind-boggling. Right. So you were saying yesterday about the Chinese building. I can't remember the name.
It's called. I'll get the name for you, but it's a technopolis, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a smart city of sorts, where it'll be a hub, a tech hub, high order, if you will. And I don't have it in front of me. I wish that I did, but it is already underway. It's already happening, and it has it's contracted with it's China, of course, but a particular country. A company, and they're doing it, man. They're doing it, right? It's not just words. They're actually, literally doing it and establishing themselves as a force to be reckoned with. And because we get a lot of comments, not a lot, but we got some comments as it relates to the leadership in Kenya pertaining to, talking the talk but not walking the walk. But we're seeing the walk taking place.
And I'm wondering if that's a different conversation. But Chinese have invested, I don't know if millions and millions of dollars into just that one tech hub. There's many. At one point I read there was up to 7 of them, and these are different countries that invested into the country to do these smart cities. Dubai is one of them. and they're putting in millions of dollars. And when they're saying smart city, Kenya has already invested so much in the internet industry there. Like, they're trying to make sure that no child has, or every child in Kenya has availability to have free Wi-Fi. We've watched other YouTubers say that they went from Nairobi all the way to Mombasa and never lost the signal, and continuous Wi-Fi all the way down.
Imagine
so
that.
It's the Wi-Fi. They also, like, they're trying to get, I think they're rated, I don't have where my little paper is, where they have more people working online and getting jobs online. This is something that the government wanted to provide so that it can help build up, you know, like in the States, people would have, they'll have telemarketing companies. They'll have people, you know, when you answer the phone, they will send it out to Guatemala somewhere. They'll send it out to Mexico, where they could try to get people to work it for low wages. Well, Kenya's like, hey, don't forget about us, because what is low wage for you is actually a nice salary here in Africa. And our people deserve to have a piece of that.
Sure.
So they got them trained. They got them ready. They're working to build telemarketing areas, or what's the word I'm trying to use? Not telemarketing, but just, dude.
I'm lost. I follow you, but I don't know the word.
You know, just
we'll figure it out.
Those type of.
You might know it.
I used to do it when I was 20, 21. I would work for these companies. They are whatever. Answer the phone. Thank you for calling. This is Johnny. How may I help you?
Customer service.
Customer service centers, call centers. There we go. Jeez, I had to go my Becky voice so I could remember. Yeah, so they're gonna have. I mean, they just like, you're not gonna forget about us. We're a major force right now. They also signed a contract with Germany for 250,000 of their skilled workers to come over into the country and work for. I guess Germany had tons of jobs there, but not enough people to fill them, not enough qualified people to fill them. So they're going to send some of their best workers over to Germany, get the wages over there. Of course, when people come from Africa to go anywhere in the world to work, they send the money back to their families. They still take care of home. That's something we kind of missed. We didn't get that kind of training. They have it. They have it. When one is up, the whole family is up.
Everybody.
The whole community is up. So they're making sure you're going to let our people go in and get that experience and that labor and that bread, that money.
Get that bread.
Work over there and bring bring the knowledge and the experience back home. So this is a very wise move. Very wise move. Let people go out into the country, get exposed. Make it easy for them to come over there and work, and even if it's an even trade, but it's not. But still, it's a very wise move.
Sure.
And then, lastly, the president over there. I know we read the comments, and we're newbies. We're newbies to East Africa. We're definitely newbies to Kenya. So we don't know people's track records. We don't know if they're truthful. All we know is what we're seeing,
right? And
what we're seeing as far as the results now. So a lot of times, especially for us, we're very spiritual people. We're taught, don't judge me for yesterday.
Right.
Don't judge me for yesterday. Judge me for my works today.
Right.
Who I was yesterday is not who I am today. So that's the eyes that we have coming into this, looking and admiring the leadership here right now. So the president in Kenya, always Ruto. I keep saying Pluto in my mind.
It's not that.
That's why I look at him like, say the name, please. But the president in Kenya is a strong component. He is a fighter. He's like, listen, let's stop using the dollar. Let's stop using it. Why am I trading here with Djibouti for their goods and services using the U.S. dollars? He said, what does the U.S. dollar have to do with trading from my country to another country in Africa? It has nothing to do with it. Yeah, he's a champion for not using the U.S. dollar, but coming up and using a platform, and it's a platform that they're using in West Africa as well, that he's studying, that he's admiring, that he's saying we should adopt that platform here in East Africa, which is if you're using francs and over here in Rwanda, and you're using shillings over there in Kenya, to trade with both of the countries goes to a central banking system where it will pay the currency exchange, but it'll use those currencies instead of buying, because a lot of these countries have to buy the US dollar in order to use them, or in order to have them back in their currency. And they're struggling with that because the US dollar costs so much. Even as people are de-dollarization the US dollar, it's going to make the cost of the US dollar go up. So they're like, let's leave that alone and trade between the two countries. This is our business. Let's leave that for when we're doing business with America. Then we'll consider using their dollar. But right now, let's be our own people. And a saying that he says, African solutions for African problems.
Makes sense to me.
It makes sense. And that's one of the problems, trying to keep up with the Joneses, using the US for US dollar strength when Africa's strong by itself.
And it's proven. It's proven that countries abroad, globally, they need Africa.
They need it.
It's been proven since the Berlin Conference. They realized it, which they came together to carve up Africa, dissected it, raped it, all of that to get what they needed and wanted. Now, which has been a work in progress. It just didn't happen overnight. We've had, leaders of African countries in the past who were striving in this way. So, we're seeing a realization, if you will, of those efforts, and it's manifesting. It's manifesting.
It is. And he's a component for the East African Federalization.
Exactly.
And we'll talk more about that. I think that's going to be a great topic to talk about. If that is to form, how powerful that would be, and what it means in the world today, and how strong it would be against other countries in the world, not even just in Africa.
With that, people, we thank you so very much. Hopefully it's something we share with you that is a takeaway. Please, don't take our word for it. Information is out there. Go check it out for yourself. So we appreciate your viewership. We thank you so very much. As always, please don't forget to subscribe. If it's something that you like, let us know. Tell a friend by sharing, and we'd like to hear your comments. Until next time, peace and blessings.